Have you ever been in the middle of an interview and the hiring manager, the recruiter, or an HR person says one thing, and in your head you think, you said one thing, but I'm pretty sure what you mean is blank. In today's video, I'm going to be covering undercover phrases, things that specifically are said that sound like one thing, but are pretty big indicators of another. Let's go. Hi everybody, I'm Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I've got 12 years experience in interviewing, hiring, and recruiting, and I'm passionate about using my experience to help you become the best candidate possible and land your next job. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about something really interesting and really important, and that's phrases or questions that sound like one thing, but are pretty big indicators of another. But before we get into that topic, do me a favor. If you are new here, take 3 seconds, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you never miss one of my free videos. And if you are not new, welcome back. Let's get into the video. Now, the first one's a pretty obvious one. How do you feel about travel? Nobody asks that question unless travel is going to be a significant part of the question. So they're asking you, how do you feel about travel? But what they really want to know is, how much are you willing to travel? Is there any hesitation in your voice? And if you want the job and you are okay with travel, then your answer absolutely 100% unequivocally needs to be, I am completely open to travel. There can't be any hesitation there. But I would ask clarifications. I would say, I'm really open to travel. In fact, I like traveling quite a bit, and I think it's fun to do that for work. What is a travel percentage for this role? Something along those lines, because while you might like travel, perhaps you don't want to travel 75%, 80%, 90%. But when they ask this question, there is absolutely no way around it. If you take this job, you are going to be traveling. The next one is also a question, and the question is, how do you feel about working nights or weekends on occasion? If you don't want to work nights and weekends, then I would proceed with extreme caution, because nobody asks this question unless that is absolutely going to be the case. From my perspective, right, from the recruiting seat, if I ask this question and the person is against it, I could be afraid I'm gonna scare away the candidate, unless, of course, working nights and weekends is absolutely necessary. So nobody would risk asking this question unless it's something significant. So when someone asks you this question, you have to immediately assume, okay, working nights, working weekends is something that is absolutely going to be required for this role if I take this role. So if you don't want to do that, proceed with caution. The next question is actually a pretty common behavioral interview question. So remember, when it's a behavioral interview question, you use the STAR method to answer: situation, task, action, result. What was the situation you were in? What was the task you needed to complete? What was the action you specifically took to resolve the issue? And then R, result. What was the outcome of all of that? That's how you answer behavioral interview questions. But this specific one is, could you tell me about a time you executed a task outside of your job description? One, very common. However, the expectation when you're asked this question means you are going to be doing a lot of things. You are going to be wearing a lot of hats. Sometimes people ask this to find out if you're a good team player. That would be a good thing, right? Because it probably means they're hiring people who are great team players. However, the other times when they're asking this, it means there is going to be a lot of random tasks. There is going to be the expectation that you, as a future employee, wear a lot of hats. You know, your job might be A, but from time to time, if they are short-staffed, they might want you to wear hats B, C, and D. They might expect you to be doing things that you otherwise might typically not be doing in a different organization. This is a question that's often asked in smaller teams or smaller organizations, where the expectation is you're going to be willing to drop what you're doing and do something that maybe you don't have experience doing or you wouldn't typically do. So whenever someone asks you this question, you have to immediately assume, if I want this job, I need to say I'm okay with it, and I need to give an example of when I did this, and I did this willingly and was okay with doing it because I like helping my team. But you have to assume that's going to be something you are asked frequently. Now, the next one is a statement, and this is a statement that would be made by the hiring manager. And it's a little bit of a red flag here, but if the hiring manager says something along the lines of, well, you know, really good people are hard to find, that person is probably going to be hard to work for. Now, people can be hard to find, right? But anybody who is like talking down on their current staff or people who have previously worked for them, that is an immediate red flag. I would be concerned about that. That's like the hiring manager equivalent of when a candidate goes, yeah, I really hate working with my current boss or my current team. They see that as a red flag. You should see this as a red flag. If at any point during any of your interviews, you hear the current hiring manager, your future boss, potentially, say anything negative about their current staff or their current employees, I would run for the hills. Now, the last thing is another question, and it's the question, how comfortable are you doing things or completing tasks with minimal guidance, right? So how comfortable are you completing tasks with minimal guidance? What does that mean? Well, they're basically asking how willing are you to be given a task, but very little in the terms of direction, and then going out and figuring it out. If you were asked this question, you have to say you're very comfortable, right? You have to say, oh, I'm the type of person who, likes the autonomy of solving complex problems and finding my own solution to do so, right? You have to be enthused by that, motivated by that, and comfortable in doing so. But it also means that if you take this role, there is probably going to be plenty of times where you're given a task and you're just expected to figure it out, right? If you're okay with that, then you should be okay getting this question. But if you're at a point in your career, or you're the type of person who wants significant guidance, you want steps, you want clarity in how you're supposed to be going about doing your job, getting a question like this should serve as like an immediate little warning bell to you, like ding, 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 ding. This could be a problem. Now, if you're okay with this, not a problem. But if you have concerns about this, it's something I would absolutely be a little bit wary of. So there you go. These are things that are commonly said, questions that are asked, statements that are made, and that's what they mean. Good luck in your next interview. You got this.